Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Senator Rand Paul co-sponsors a bill to help simplify the process for survivors of natural disasters to seek relief. And a group tries to get voting rights back to Kentuckians who were once convicted of felonies.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Just after 6 o'clock here on this Friday morning, and a good morning to you. Brandon Robinson doing it all today. News, weather, we got you. Didn't do sports. Nate Johnson did sports this morning, but we've got some weather for you first now on this Friday, June the 23rd. Steve Hensley's birthday. So if you're up right now, go over and wish him a happy birthday. We've got a post going out 10 o'clock on social media. All right, weather first. Got to do weather first. Trying to get off track here. All right, so we got a little bit of a low pressure circulating some moisture across parts of the region this morning. Some of it's in the way of fog, some of it's in the way of light showers, but overall it is not too bad out there to start the day. Whitesburg, a little foggy this morning downtown there on Main Street. 60 degrees as we head into the morning hours. Not too bad on traffic just yet, but it'll probably pick up here before too long. 59 Clintwood, everybody else is in the 60s, and temperatures have not moved a whole lot. 66 in Harlan, the warm spot. Most spots between 63 and 65 out there this morning. A couple of cooler spots in Southwest Virginia, as always. Logan over in West Virginia at 61. Today's breakdown, 75. Chances for clouds and showers to start the day, but as we get deeper into the afternoon, those chances will be around in widely scattered form, but I do believe we'll see some sunshine at times a little bit later as well. Now, back to news. New bipartisan legislation is being introduced to simplify the application process for federal disaster assistance. One of the co-sponsors of that bill is Kentucky's junior Senator Rand Paul. WYMT Olivia Calfee talked with him about what it could mean for Kentuckians and why he saw the need.
Following two major disasters in Kentucky in the last couple of years with tornadoes in the west and floods in the east, Senator Rand Paul says the application for folks to receive federal help wasn't easy.
The forms are complicated, the forms are duplicative, the deadlines are different, and so we've been looking for ways to try to fix these.
Partnering with U.S. Senator Gary Peters out of Michigan, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio, introducing two bipartisan bills.
One bill, reduces the forms, so basically you only have to fill out one form, and then another bill we've been working on actually changes some deadlines to make the deadlines coincide as well.
In a recent analysis, it found that more than 50% of the questions on the FEMA and SBA application forms are repetitive. Going on to express his confidence in the future of the bills.
I think really these bills dealing with disaster aid and forms and deadlines are non-controversial enough that I think we should be able to get them across the finish line without, hopefully without a lot of delay.
Saying despite the frustrations with the federal aid process, he has continued to see Kentuckians lift each other up. In Hazard, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
If the Disaster Assistance Simplification Act is passed, the legislation would make FEMA the lead agency in implementing the Universal Disaster Assistance application for disaster victims. Plus, the bill requires all information sharing practices to meet federal data security standards. The Attorney General's office is asking the FBI to look into questionable over-the-limit contributions to Governor Andy Beshear's re-election campaign. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says the allegations are that $200,000 came from the London mayor. Then a $1.4 million contract was awarded to the city. Governor Beshear has stated previously that the numerous grants were awarded across Kentucky. Beshear's campaign has stated any campaign contribution that is over the limit will be refunded, including those from Mayor Randall Weddle.
People are sick and tired of pay-to-play politics. They're sick and tired of the way that Democrats, when they get in the governor's office, treat the office.
Do what's right and to work directly with the regulators. My understanding is that the campaign has met each of those requirements.
Mayor Weddle is now under two separate investigations at the moment. The Kentucky Lantern reported this week Governor Beshear's campaign is refunding him that $202,000 in those donations. The campaign says the money was a bundle of donations from Weddle's family and business associates. Now, the Lexington Herald-Leader reports someone is accusing the mayor of paying for votes. The complaint stems from a gas giveaway he sponsored less than 3 months before last year's election. Weddle's lawyer says that the giveaway was disconnected, quote, in every way from the campaign. He won with 56% of the vote. Meanwhile, a contribution Attorney General and Republican gubernatorial hopeful Daniel Cameron accepted in March and April is resurfacing. The Daily Beast reports Cameron accepted $6,900 from officials at a recovery center that he was investigating. The newspaper reports that despite the donations, Cameron did not immediately recuse himself from the investigation. Instead, the report states he personally withdrew from the probe after open records requests were made that revealed the investigation. We've reached out to Cameron's campaign but have not heard back just yet. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is pushing against ethics complaints about the U.S. Supreme Court. A ProPublica report this week revealed Justice Samuel Alito went on a luxury trip with 2 Republican donors in 2008. One of them has brought about 12 cases before the Supreme Court since then. Some Democrats have been pushing for legislation to set up ethics rules for the court. Senator McConnell says Congress does not have that authority. A group is trying to restore voting rights for Kentuckians who have been convicted of a felony. As it stands right now, people in Kentucky who have been formerly incarcerated cannot vote unless they individually petition the governor to get that right back. The Kentucky Equal Justice Center and the Fair Election Center came together to change that. They explained to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals why they believe the current process for restoring voting rights is unconstitutional. The groups have also filed a lawsuit against Governor Beshear for keeping what they call an arbitrary system in place.
So more than twice the rate of disenfranchisement for Black Kentuckians because we over-police and over-prosecute those communities.
Kentucky is one of the only states where the governor does not have any set criteria to reestablish voting rights. That's the only option for people who have been convicted, is to ask the governor themselves. New this morning, police in Bell County are asking for your help to find the ones involved in an attempted grave robbery case. Last night, deputies were called to the Gibson Cemetery off of Highway 190. They found a grave dug up with damage done to the vault and the coffin itself. It's believed at least 2 people were involved with the desecration. Once they were done investigating the scene, the deputies were able to cover the grave back up and reset the headstone. The Bell County Sheriff's Department is asking anyone who might know anything about the case to call dispatch at 606-337-6174. All calls will remain confidential. The Middle Creek Volunteer Fire Department is mourning the loss of one of its own. Charles E. Hackworth died on Wednesday. He was a founding member of the fire department back in 1984 and had done a variety of different jobs throughout its 39-year history. You can find Hackworth's arrangements on our website at WYMT.com. Thursday marked 1 month since the murder of a Scott County Sheriff's deputy. Police say Stephen Shingshang shot Caleb Conley during a traffic stop and then continued on a violent rampage into neighboring Fayette County. Grand juries in both counties are considering charges against Shingshang. There have been numerous benefit events for Deputy Conley's family. He was laid to rest recently in Cynthiana. Meanwhile, one Scott County restaurant will be hosting a car show 1 week from today to honor Deputy Conley. Steak and Shake in Georgetown will be taking up donations, and those proceeds will then go to the deputy's family. Meanwhile, a Red Cross blood drive held in the memory of Floyd County Sheriff's Deputy William Petrie kicks off in less than 1 week. The deputy and Martin Fire Chief lost his life in the line of duty during the Allen ambush on June 30th of last year. He was a blood donor and understood the importance of giving blood to people in need. The blood drive will be held at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg next Thursday from noon until 5:30 p.m. Anyone who wants to donate is asked to bring your photo ID or your donor card. A West Virginia girl finally got a second chance to watch The Little Mermaid after she was kicked out of a movie theater by staff. Madeline Edwards has that story.
A few weeks ago, Vanessa Kane and her daughter Danny were kicked out of a showing of The Little Mermaid at the Cinemark in the Meadowbrook Mall because Danny was singing and dancing during the movie. Danny was recently diagnosed with autism, and The Little Mermaid has brought out her voice in her own way.
You know, with The Little Mermaid, she doesn't have a voice, and she has to learn how to communicate without one, and that's just like Danny.
Danny's mom was extremely upset by the incident and shared the story on Facebook, and it blew up. Within a few days, a date was set up for Danny and other people with special needs to see The Little Mermaid together. On Saturday, Danny was finally able to get up and sing and dance while watching The Little Mermaid here at Tigert Valley Cinemas.
I got to sit down and enjoy the movie because you know, have to worry about other people, and I didn't have to worry about whether or not, you know, she was going to get yelled at or judged.
Kane says the theater was full of people singing and dancing. They even arrived early so the kids could run around and play. She says while the incident of being kicked out was upsetting, it brought up a message that needed to be heard.
What happened was not correct. No, what happened was wrong, you know, not only because she does have a disability, but because it's a children's movie and it was made for kids to enjoy. And I think that it's opened up a lot of people's eyes that, one, that West Virginia doesn't have a lot of accommodations with children on the spectrum.
She's hoping that this will encourage more people to hold events that give people with disabilities the chance to have fun in a safe environment. Kane thanks everyone who made Danny's magical day special.
Just to see the people that don't even know Danny chip in and help, it was amazing.
6:11 here on this Friday morning. Some dense fog out there across our region. Any number below 5 on this map, which includes basically Moorhead, Jackson, Hazard, Pikeville, Williamsburg, and Wise. Again, some dense fog out there, so just be careful. Moorhead, I don't know if I've mentioned that one or not, but again, anywhere that you see those lower numbers, we're looking at some dense fog. Jenkins along US 119, US 23, heading into parts of southwest Virginia this morning up the mountain there toward the Virginia line. Not too much traffic, not too much fog either. Temperatures out there in the 60s with the exception of Clintwood, but they're right there knocking on the door. 59 there, everybody else 60 or above. The warm spot this morning continues to be Harlan at 66. Your breakfast forecast, we are going to see back and forth cloud cover and some rain chances for a little while this morning. Some fog, temperatures will be slow to go up, and then as we head deeper into the day, we'll see some sunshine try to peek through and maybe some warmer conditions, mid-70s out there a little bit later on this afternoon. All right, 6:12. Thanks for joining us here on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, the search for a missing submersible and its crew of explorers ends in tragedy after days of searching in the North Atlantic.